Joseph Kent is a well-known activist from his work organizing in Ferguson. More recently, he has been both an activist and an organizer in Baltimore as well, up until recently when he was either arrested or kidnapped, depending on what term you want to use.
Disappeared.
He disappeared on live TV. We have a few details about him now, but very little is actually known about what has happened to him after he was kidnapped. But first, let's show a live footage from CNN.
With the world's eyes on them and how they're handling this.
So, Cedric, would you tell the curfew? Do you think that's the right thing?
Well, you know, here's the thing, Don. There's no easy answer to that. Every community is very different. If we go back to Ferguson, right, and the optics at Ferguson were absolutely horrible after they imposed a curfew. So, what it appears to me that Baltimore is trying to do is do something a little different here, not be as confrontational, but of course, they know they got to get the mission done.
You know how they were able to get him in there. As you pointed out, the vehicle didn't stop moving.
No.
The military Humvee, perhaps drawn from the streets of Tikrit, now being used to arrest protesters and make them disappear in the middle of the night.
And he was walking around saying people need to disperse. Now, he's well known as being a non-violent activist. Mm-hmm. He's led protests about Ferguson.
Focusing on peace,
yes,
being peaceful.
And he's been a community organizer out in front of the crowds, really working hard to keep them nonviolent because it's easy for people to get agitated and start throwing things, and he's always been out in the front calming people down, nonviolent. So he wasn't there to be violent. He was there, actually, you could hear him say in the clip, you need to disperse. And he's talking to the people behind the cameras because there's a lot of people still out on the street. It was 10:30 after the curfew, and he was trying to avoid an onslaught against those people.
Yeah, and we've seen those onslaughts. We've shown the video in the past of mass groups of protesters clashing with the riot gear clad police, and he was working to stop that.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't flipping off the cops. He wasn't like yelling at them. He had his hands in the air. He's walking back and forth, and he was trying to accomplish what the cops want to accomplish: the dispersing of the protests late at night.
But they have him pegged as a leader. They don't understand.
And they want to send a message.
Yeah, they don't know the difference between a responsible leader, nonviolent leader, and somebody who's out there agitating people to throw rocks. They don't know the difference. They just have him pegged as a leader, and they're going to take out the leaders.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. This was it was a coordinated operation because as the vehicle drove by, you could see
the 4 or 5 National Guard.
They moved out of the line. Yeah. It was coordinated.
Yeah, it had been coordinated in advance. They had no interest in apparently communicating with that guy, and thankfully, CNN actually happened to be filming at that particular time, or we might have no information about what happened to him. Now we do have Chris Cuomo was sort of forced to address it later on CNN. We have a quote from him. They drove the vehicle up, and when it got close enough to create a wedge, they ran out and grabbed him, pinned him against that, and arrested him. He told all the media, talking about what Joseph Kent had been saying prior to the disappearance. He told all the media, you need to disperse. And then as he was walking back and forth, the Humvee came and they used it as an opportunity, and he's been taken into custody. Now, thankfully, Twitter leaped into action, attempting to find out information about what had happened to Joseph Kent. We now have information from an attorney in the area who has apparently communicated with him, saying, as a service to the community, I can confirm that Mr. Kent is at CBIF awaiting processing. Report is he is okay and safe. Due to large number of arrests, processing is slow. He is not even in the system yet. More will be known in about 5 hours. I do not yet rep him, although I will gladly if he wants me to, but everyone breathe. No longer in Baltimore Police Department hands. Correctional officers have him. Safer that way. That's what he says.
CBIF is Central Booking Intake Center.
Yes.
And we saw it during Occupy, the crackdown on Occupy, and they're not in a big hurry to process people.
Yeah, exactly. Why would they be? Especially if it's a leader, they don't want him out there. Exactly. And we know that we just showed you the arrest stats. They are bringing in so many people in comparison to previous protests of what seemed like similar magnitude. I mean, we all heard how big and how unruly Ferguson was, and yet they're arresting way more people in this case. And so, will it be days? Will it be weeks before he's back out on the streets? From what we saw as completely non-violent protesting of the sort that our country was built on, what we want out of protesters, and they have punished the proper behavior by making him disappear from the streets.
Wesley Lowery of Washington Post tweeted this about it. He said, I watched Joseph Kent spend hours trying to clear young people from the street and keep them from rioting last night in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So he's out there trying to do it right, trying to not get people arrested, trying to not be arrested, trying to not get his head cracked open.
Exactly. Yeah, we need more Joseph Kents. And now, because of the heavy-handed behavior of the police and the National Guard, we have one fewer. hopefully he will be released very soon.